Welcome to Switching Reels.
Welcome to Switching Reels, Connor. I'm your host, Trenton.
And I'm your host too, Connor.
Nice. Oh, what did we watch today?
Today we watched Life is Beautiful.
A true statement.
Not to be confused with It's a Wonderful Life.
Yes, they are different movies about different subject material.
Yes, taking place in approximately the same time period.
I feel like What's a Wonderful Life is... No.
No. Because
He
his
goes off to
brother
war.
goes off to war, yeah.
And that's World War II?
Mm-hmm.
Gross. Wow. One of them's black and white, though.
That's true.
This one's in color.
Yes.
It has
Also
slightly
is in Italian.
better comedy.
I hard disagree with that.
Really?
Yeah.
You think there is more consistent and higher quality comedy in It's a Wonderful Life than
Yes,
in
I
this
do.
movie?
Yes, I do.
Thankfully, they've seen A Wonderful Life if they've gotten to this point.
Yeah.
Whew.
I would argue that It's a Wonderful Life is a better comedy.
Okay, and we'll go and debate that on
Yeah.
the other side of the spoiler wall.
Probably.
Who do we recommend this to?
If you liked Jojo Rabbit, because I feel the same way about this movie that I felt about Jojo Rabbit.
I don't know what Jojo Rabbit is.
Jojo Rabbit is a movie. It was nominated for Best Picture like 2 years ago, maybe 3 years. It was a Taika Waititi movie about a kid who has an imaginary friend that's Adolf Hitler. He's growing up in Germany during World War II.
This is a Holocaust movie, just in case. Like that's an easy one. You
Yeah.
can go into this knowing.
Not Jojo Rabbit.
Not
Jojo
Jojo
Rabbit
Rabbit.
is, yeah. I mean, it's. I would say there. This
Yeah.
is part that I need. This is a thing that I need to talk about on the other side of the spoiler wall.
Perfect. Love that. I would recommend this to anyone that drinks their tea with chocolate. Or other very, very strange things that ruin a good thing. Tea is good, chocolate's good. Combine them and you get something weird. And that's what this was. Well done, weird, though.
All right, so I'm gonna ask it the easy way. Does it deserve its place on the list?
Yeah. It could be higher,
Really?
like above Interstellar.
Okay.
Yeah, which is hard for me to say. Not as good as 12 Angry Men.
So this one's difficult for me because I genuinely don't know how much my taste plays into the movie overall.
Totally.
I'm leaning toward it shouldn't be on the list.
Wow, at all?
Yeah.
It's better than Toy Story.
You're a monster.
Apparently those are fighting words. Good to know.
Yeah, I love Toy Story.
I do too.
My feelings on this movie are far more mixed.
Interesting. I'm
Yeah.
excited for this. We'll go and discuss this.
So, yeah, I guess let's do our ratings on the other side of the spoiler wall, but I honestly don't know what I'm going to say.
Nice. I love that. Cool. Well, this is as far as you can get without spoilers, everyone. We're going to try something new today.
Yep.
We've gotten some feedback that maybe we can be a little less formulaic, which I think is valid feedback.
Yeah.
So we're going to go a little more wing it on this one.
Yep.
We still have our trusty paper, but...
Nope.
Oh, never mind. We don't anymore. It's out the window, guys.
We're keeping the summary. Everything else is just going to be kind of freeform.
Yeah, love that.
We'll see what happens.
I'm probably going to have just questions for you. I think that's what I'm going to start doing.
Okay.
Yeah, we didn't come up with this beforehand. We're going to
No.
have a good time.
Yeah.
All right. This is the spoiler wall. Please like, comment, subscribe. Send us feedback if you have it. We will
Yep.
listen and do our best to implement it to
Absolutely.
the best of our ability.
So.
We also had someone say that we don't look at the camera enough, so.
Oh, okay. Also, if you notice any strangeness in the editing, that's because we are now
Both
splitting up
editing.
the editing. So, yeah. Don't tell us which one you want more because
No.
one of us will see it and the other one will
Just
hear
like-
it secondhand.
Like it more. Well, I'm going to give you all the login information so you'll be able to see it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Just like the ones you like and don't like the ones you don't like.
Yeah.
Whichever one has more likes. It's going to be a great system.
Yeah. All right. Summary of this movie. This
Summary
one I
of this
actually
movie.
feel like I can do fairly well.
Okay, you do it
Despite
first.
despite my feelings on the movie. being mixed and muddled, I feel like it's pretty easy to summarize.
Perfect.
This is a movie about a Jewish man who falls in love with a lady and spends like the first half wooing her in ways that are kind of creepy, but also like
Worked for her.
terribly charming.
Yes.
Very strange in that regard. And the second half of the movie is after they all get put in concentration camps, and he's with his son trying to keep him alive by promising him a tank if he wins the game that he has created inside this concentration camp.
This movie is an ode to all fathers who feel like you could be doing better. Because it's just, the entire movie is a man lying to his child. Or lying to random people he meets. I'm pretty sure that he's very close to a compulsive liar, if not just very kind. And so that's how he goes through his life. He does die, probably for lying.
Yeah.
And then his son lives and gets a tank.
This character is the most chaotic good character I've ever
So
seen in a
chaotic
movie.
Oh my goodness gracious. So where would you put this rating wise?
I genuinely don't know. For me, this is one of those movies that I understand why people appreciate it, but it feels tonally inconsistent.
Yeah.
Like very much so. To the point where it's like I think it's the style of comedy alongside the sort of harrowing situations that they're in, and the fact that I feel like they're at war with one another instead of making the other one more powerful. And that's how I felt about Jojo Rabbit as well.
Nice.
Like you haven't seen it, so
No
I'm not
idea.
going to go really in depth about it, but like there are scenes that are just so hilarious, and then other scenes that are just harrowing, and then like you move from one to the other,
Nice.
and it's not like they're right next to each other so you're ready for it, or
Yeah.
like it takes you by surprise and is more powerful.
Mhm.
Right? I would say when we get to 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, that is how you do that.
These
Right.
movie titles just get weirder as we go down.
But with this one, I don't know. I cannot get behind sort of the slow transition into a different film. It feels like.
It didn't feel like it was a slow transition. It was a pretty abrupt transition.
I would say structurally, when you go from the scene where he's wooing his wife and it's wonderful
Yeah.
to, okay, now they're in a
Now
concentration
they're in a
camp and everything
concentration camp
sucks.
and everything's bad, and he's still doing his best.
Yeah.
Like the consistency of the main character is astounding. Like
Yeah.
he is a through line throughout the entire movie.
That's
about
true.
like how you can be a good person in a really, really, really bad circumstance,
Yeah.
and how you can still try and be a good like father in a really, really bad circumstance,
Yeah.
and do your best to take care of your child. I think that his humor was a very good counterpoint to everything else that was going on, because he was the only one. Like you could tell that it was at times forced for him.
Yeah.
They actually did a fantastic job with
Yeah.
being like, nah, I'm cutting out all of the sadness feelings. So like I felt it was really, really well done. I really enjoyed it, and it made me really, really sad at all times. This is what I feel like a Holocaust movie should do to me instead of making me irrationally angry shitless.
Yeah. It didn't do that for me. I don't know.
There you go.
Yeah. Either
So-
one.
This felt like something very, very, very nice that was just like completely tainted by something else. For any of you book nerds out there, in Wheel of Time, there's a long story. One of the power sources has a taint on it. And so this is what I felt like. Like, hey, you have this really marvelous source of power and beauty, and yet there's poop on it.
If we keep talking Wheel of Time, I'm going to spoil things. So we need to move on.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
I need to finish that series.
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Much like life. Yay, got it in there.
Okay.
Anything
You're the
technically-
worst kind of person. Did you know that?
I would disagree, but I
Okay.
think there are many people that would agree with you.
All right. Yeah, so technical things.
Yeah.
Again, my biggest issue with this is kind of structural.
Yeah.
So
Also, it wasn't anything technically exquisite. You know? Like,
yeah, there aren't a whole lot of scenes in this where you just go, wow, how'd they
Wow.
do that?
exactly.
I mean, Benici, the guy who played the main character, Guido,
Mhm.
he does an incredible job as just like a showman.
Yes.
And some of the stuff, like just tipping his hat with his cane behind his back and
was
that kind of stuff, like
fantastic.
from a performance aspect, I think it was
Did
technically very
fantastic.
well done.
That did break my immersion every once in a while.
Yeah.
Like, you have this just absolute clown of a character, and my understanding of the Holocaust is that gets you shot.
Yeah,
So,
there
the
were
amount
a
of him
couple
not
of
getting
times.
shot is
Yeah,
insane.
yeah. The scene where where he acrobats over the spotlight, and then the second time it comes through and it catches him, I'm like, you're not even gonna see anybody. Somebody's just gonna snipe you. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a decent amount of that.
There is a lot. Oh, that was such a sad scene. Like, that's the quintessential. There it is. Found it.
Yeah.
Like, just go off and kill them scene. Like, don't kill them here.
Yeah.
What are you thinking?
Yeah.
You get that in this movie and in Schindler's List, just the like disregard of human life. It's also that one comment in the wedding.
Yes, that was, and I think that's part of my issue with the movie. I think it's so great in that first half, and you start getting like these sort of like dark threads that are kind of through it,
Yeah,
but it feels natural.
it does. And
And I feel like that even goes into when they're first at the concentration camp.
yeah,
The scene where he's translating but can't speak German, I think is brilliant.
it's fantastic.
After that, it feels like there's a sharp drop off for me,
Absolutely.
where it's less like, hey, it's this bright movie with some very dark sort of rivers running through it, to this just feels like a dark movie that we're like trying hopelessly to put some
That's the point.
I
That's the
know.
entire point of this movie.
get
At some
that.
point, you see all of the people dwindling from this barracks. It was
Yeah.
filled to the brim with people, and every time you see the barracks, there are fewer people. And yet, what's his name? Giuseppe? No,
Joseph.
no, Dad.
Oh, Guido.
Guido is still the same.
Yeah.
And it's like this is how do you create such a world and a choice inside yourself to be able to do this?
Yeah.
It's so I think the discordance is on purpose, and it makes sense that you don't like it.
Yeah.
But it's
That's completely fair.
an artistic
just-
choice. It's just like
I just feel like I'm watching a different movie in the second half.
Yes,
With the same character, but completely different film.
completely different. I would agree with that.
Yeah.
I think it's done really well for that reason, which is great.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a fair assessment. Like, despite my feelings that this should not be on the top 250 list,
Yeah,
I understand why it is.
yeah.
I don't necessarily understand why it's as high as it is.
It's like 27 or something.
Yeah. I don't know.
Super high.
I genuinely don't understand.
Yeah.
But I understand it being here. Yeah.
All right. What's the history behind Italian films? Why is this in Italian?
Well, it's in Italian because it was written by Roberto Benigni,
Who's
who played the main character.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
And weirdly, okay, so I don't know much about this era of Italian films, but
Wasn't
the
The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly also an Italian film?
Yes.
In the weirdest way possible?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Spaghetti westerns were their own thing. But the Italian movie scene really went off with what's called why am I spacing it? If anybody can remember what this is called, I had a class on it.
The Italian Revolution?
No, it was Italian neorealism.
Whoa.
Yeah. So that's what really made their cinema take off after World War II, and
Yeah.
it was all like,
Oh.
yeah, because they were
Interesting.
World War II did weird stuff to Italy,
Yeah. I can only imagine.
like to the point where everybody was basically impoverished and that kind of stuff. So what they did is they basically just said, we're going to tell stories with a cheap camera, and it's just going to be in this bombed out city or whatever. Like, it's eerie to watch.
Yeah.
But some of the stuff is really cool. But it is really strange thinking of how, at least that was my understanding, that was how the Italian film market really started booming. And then something happened in the next 30 years.
Yeah. There you go.
And then this movie, which focuses in on...
It's like, I think this is 96 or something.
Yeah.
It's like, I can't remember when Schindler's List was. Is that 80s?
No, it was 90s.
90s as well.
Yeah.
I thought so. Which is like, it's so strange having these two kind of movies close together. Same decade. That's not close together. But,
yeah.
like,
Well, it is strange that they're so close on the list as well. And I wonder how much my feelings on this movie are influenced by the fact that I saw Schindler's List first.
yeah, that makes sense. I did too.
And so
But you are different than me.
yeah, that's true. But I also went into this with the expectation of like, okay, this is going to be like Schindler's List gut-wrenching.
Yeah.
And it really isn't.
No, it
And
isn't.
the first part completely disarmed me for the second part. I went in like ready to like feel some pain.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, this
Joy.
is fun.
This is a great
I
movie.
enjoy
Yeah,
this.
this is happy.
Again, some of the stuff that the character does is a little creepy.
Well,
But but it's whimsical creepy too.
Whimsical creepy. I love the through line of him doing like weird magic stuff and
Yeah.
him like he is the original manifester, I'm pretty sure. Like he just manifested the reality he wanted until he died. Couldn't
Yeah.
manifest out of that one.
Yeah. I do love the scene where he's walking around with Dora and he's asking the Virgin Mary for things.
Mary, a key. Oh, that's so good. I love that section as well. Like the
Yeah.
first part of this movie is gold. It's a different.
Yeah.
It is a different kind of movie.
Yeah.
And like I feel like it goes and tries a shot at slice of life before hitting you with a little bit of Holocaust.
Yeah. Oof. There may have been worse ways to phrase that, but I can't think of them.
My pleasure.
Yeah, I mean, I have such complex feelings about this movie that I really don't know how to talk about it.
No, totally.
Other than the fact that I feel like this, like one of the main themes of this is that good people are in the world and that they make the world better, which is a major theme that I want to write into my books, but I don't like this.
I feel like this is one of the farther ends of a spectrum of like shoehorning good into bad. You know, like because it's what happens.
Yeah.
There's like on the wife's side, you get a nice counterpoint because she's a regular person.
Yeah.
Except for liking creepy guys, and so you see on her side like, wow, this is a Holocaust movie, and on the
Guido.
I was gonna say Greedo, because he's from Star Wars. On Greedo's side,
He did not shoot first.
I don't think he shot at all. It also depends on what edit you look at, which is weird. Why did you guys do so many edits? Anyway, on Guido's side, like, you get the very, very rough counterpoint. Like, and everyone also, like, and I feel like they could have done better. Like, everyone in the barracks is also kind of getting, like, up on it, you know? Like, it made their life a little bit better. You only get one guy.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name.
I wonder if that's part of what it does, why that bothers me as much as it does, is because he makes a huge difference for his son.
Yep.
But no one else.
No one else.
And even his son is kind of doubting him.
Most of the time.
Yeah. And so, I don't know. Maybe it's that it feels like an exercise in futility to me. And like that, just don't pretend like it. I think that's part of it. There's so many parts to this. But don't pretend like your situation is not as serious as it is. I feel like there's a certain level of immaturity to it as well.
That's such a, like, you've now just distilled Connor into a glass that anyone can drink from.
What do you mean?
Statement right there. That's quintessential. Like, that just is your definition. I completely I vibe
What do you
with that
mean?
about you. The idea that, like, the idea of forcing yourself to exude non-seriousness in a very, very, very serious situation that should be treated seriously is very you. In a wonderful way.
That's
like,
fair.
This is not a slight at all. I'm just like, oh wow, Connor would say that.
Yeah.
So that's
called tonal consistency.
It's called tonal consistency. I like the jarring nature. I like the fact that it made me feel very sad and slightly off through the entire thing, because he was slightly off through the entire thing. I liked that consistency.
Yeah. And you're entitled to your opinion.
Ditto. Love this. I feel like this is a pretty divisive one. That's
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah. Apparently not. It's still really highly rated on the list.
Oh, for sure. But at least between the two of us. Like, I imagine, though, like, conflict makes things more important. You know? Like, if people have an opinion about something, it'll be rated more.
That's true.
And we were just talking about how we don't like the tomato site.
Oh, Rotten Tomatoes.
Because it's binary, whereas IMDb is not.
No, it isn't.
Like, you can go and rate certain sections of it that you feel are just much worse.
Yeah.
Which you could totally do here. Because there's certain parts of it that are just really nice.
There's only one movie on this list that I have rated at a 4. And it's because I don't think it's a film.
Is this Run, Forrest, Run?
No, it's Hamilton.
Oh, nice. Okay, I didn't know that was on here still.
We'll watch it if it's still on here when we get there. But
everybody,
just a spoiler for how I feel about that. It's a great play. It deserves to be rated as a great play. It's not a movie. It doesn't belong on this list.
Yeah. I don't think I actually argue that one. There are so many plays that have been filmed.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. A televised play is not a film.
Does not a film make?
No, not at all.
That makes total sense to me.
All right. Well, is there anything else you want to hit on this, or?
I don't think so. I think we've had a wonderful time.
That's a different movie, Trenton.
Wonderful time, isn't
it? It's a Wonderful Life?
No, I said, yeah, I know, but I didn't say Wonderful Life.
Okay, you keep bringing up the word wonderful.
I know, because it's in both movies.
No, it's only in one.
It's Wonderful
Life is Beautiful.
Oh, no! You did this to me!
I did not.
You did. In the very beginning, you're like, this life is beautiful. Not to be confused with This Wonderful Life, which don't sound the same. Now I'm pretty sure there's wonderful somewhere in the title, Life is Beautiful. You curse my associative brain.
Have you ever seen The Green Mile?
Most miles are green.
In what universe are most miles green?
Florida.
There are too
Mostly
many questions.
Carolinas,
Okay.
upstate New
We're
York.
we're watching The Green Mile for the next episode. Have you seen that movie?
I haven't. I hope it's about football. Like lined up a bunch of.
No, that's The
End
Longest
zones.
Yard. Completely different type of
Okay.
movie.
Dang.
I, of course, have seen The Green Mile.
Nice.
Eventually, we will get to things I haven't seen. But
Yeah, it was one or two that you hadn't. Oh yeah, like
it-
the one Into Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
That popped up there for a sec. Is it still there? I think it's still up there.
yeah, it's still up there.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was Across the Spider-Verse that I
Across
hadn't
the
seen, though.
Spider-Verse. Yeah.
So,
That was such a nice experience for me.
yeah.
Good. Um,
How do we end this?